Hey guys, it's topic video time, and today I am talking about my vinyl records because I don't know, I wanted to see how hipster I could possibly be today. I honestly am not a big collector, and I don't collect vinyls very much anymore, but sometimes if I really like an album, just like a lot of you, you want to have like the full book of it and have like the full experience, something that you can hold in your hand. Same with like my Criterion collection. On occasion, I like to have something really beautiful that I can hold. But overall, I'm not really that materialistic of a person. But I think I do have some pretty good records. Not a lot of them, but here they are. All right, so this is the first album here. This is Smile by the Beach Boys. And yeah, this is one of my favorite albums of all time. It's very, very psychedelic, but not like in a stereotypical sort of way. This was introduced to me by a boyfriend who was kind of the one that got away, and I don't know, I've always loved it. I love the harmonies of it. I love how abstract it is. I love just everything about it. It's totally mad, which makes sense when you know the history behind it. But yeah, if you're really into the Beach Boys and you haven't heard this album, then it's an absolute must. Oh yeah, Revolver. This is my favorite Beatles album. I love the cover too. I've always loved this cover. But yeah, it's got great tracks on it. Yellow Submarine drives me up the wall, but most of these songs I love. Love You Too, and Tomorrow Never Knows is one of my all-time favorites. Oh man, this is amazing. I won't open it up totally, but this is Black Star by David Bowie, which is kind of one of the most heartbreaking albums just because he died the day after it was released. And yeah, it's really incredibly done, and you can't really see it, but just there's a lot of kind of cool textures going on, and it has a beautiful book to it. This is actually one of my favorite David Bowie albums of all time. And no, it's not just the sentiment of him dying and exploring death and all. I just love it. Black Star is just an extraordinarily cosmic, dark but beautiful experience, meditative experience. And yeah, long live the king. So I am a huge Frank Sinatra fan, and I'm sure I've said that before, but I'm always loving keeping some of those old records by him and collecting them. This was given to me by someone who's an asshole, but that's okay. I got this out of it. They at least knew my taste, so I gotta give them credit for that. But yeah, this is really cool, and I think this might be a collector as well. Bill Evans, Alone. This was my mom's album. My mom is a pianist, so is my dad. They're both classical pianists, and so, my mom really loves like jazz piano especially, and she introduced me to Bill Evans, and this album is just wonderful. Every track in it is brilliant. It's easy to listen to, yet it's complex. It's really, really beautiful. It's everything you could want out of a jazz album. This is a remix album by Battles, I want to say. Yeah, Africast. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so it is. But the original album is really, really good. I have no idea why I have this. But yeah, listen to Battles. Barry Lyndon, of course I had to buy this, and I had to buy the actual record itself and not like the CD or whatever. But yeah, Barry Lyndon has one of the great soundtracks of all time. My favorite part is the Sarabande, it's like the reprise or whatever you want to say, where they have the duel at the end. I think that is absolutely brilliant, especially instrumentally, the subtlety, yet the tension in it. And the piano trio is stunning, especially how it's used in the movie with absolutely no words. It's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. Got some Leonard Bernstein, because he's awesome. He's one of the all-time greats. And yeah, every once in a while I'll get a Bernstein record. West Side Story, I know this was my parents' record, and this used to be one of my favorite movies. Definitely by far the greatest score ever for a musical, like no contest. Also Leonard Bernstein, but yeah, I've reviewed West Side Story, so I won't go too much into it here, but there you are. Suite for flute and jazz piano. I know I've heard this, and I knew I thought it was kind of interesting in a way that I didn't expect, but I could not tell you why. It's been too long. Well, you see, I used to really romanticize like the 1950s and the 40s and stuff like that, so I was getting a lot of this kind of like mambo type music that was really popular back in the time, back when I was in college, so this comes from then. Morrison Hotel, because, The Doors is, as most people know, a band I have a lot of sentimental love for. And this is, I think, one of the best albums by The Doors. Just, you know, it's just kind of a succinct, great kind of blues album with a lot of kind of country and jazz and blues influence. It's really good. Rhapsody in Blue by Gershwin. I don't think I've listened to this, and I tend to be very picky about certain interpretations of a specific work by an older composer. I really am kind of a stickler for it, so I'll have to listen to this one because Gershwin is one of my all-time favorite composers, and I don't know, I'm tough on it. Da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da. The Third Man has one of the great scores of all time. That zither score is just one of the most unique things I've ever heard. If you haven't heard it, I do talk about this in my film scores video that I did years ago. But yeah, this is one of my favorite scores of all time to one of my favorite films of all time. One of those really unexpected scores that, you know, it can drive certain people up the wall, but I think it works brilliantly. It kind of captures this kind of strange, kind of bitter, cheeky, complex, duplicitous sort of quality to it, but with a charm, a wink. Oh, The Umbrellas of Cherbourg. The music is stunning. It's melancholy, it's heartbreaking, and this is a heartbreaking film as well. And yeah, I knew when I first saw the film I had to have the soundtrack. And I remember I got this in a like an antique store, a really cool antique store. And I was looking through the albums, and the owner, he was this old man, the owner of the store, and I was freaking out because of all these different records I had found, and I was talking about Umbrellas of Cherbourg and all this stuff. And at the time I was around 20 years old, and he was so impressed that I was a fan of a lot of these old works that he gave this to me for free. And, you know, you run into cool people like that when you go to, like, antique shops. MGM musicals, just me and my MGM musical, you know, fetishization obsession with. So, you know, I Love Melvin is a piece of shit, but the songs are catchy. And, you know, it's all just part of the guilty pleasure. Summer Stock, that's a major guilty pleasure for me. I have seen that movie probably 6,000 times. Invitation to the Dance. This is, speaking of, you know, old musicals and obscure information that I know, this is a film that Gene Kelly directed, and he dances in it, but it's not like a normal story. It's, you know, it's all just about dance. It's all about showcasing different dancers, and it's got like a lot of visuals and animation. It's one of those. It's a showcase of sorts, but by the time this movie came out, by the time it was finally released, musicals by that point weren't what they were. At least this type of musical was going out of style. The public had largely lost interest, but I think it's really cool that I was able to find this. I don't remember where I found it, but, you know, I'm glad that I did. Little collector's items like this make me happy. In Utero, because, I'm sorry, it's the best album. It is Nirvana's best album. It is better than Nevermind. Challenge me on that. Angel Olsen, she's awesome, and I think that this is her best album. She came out with one, I think, last year, and I liked it, but I feel like her voice, she has kind of that sexy, kind of wispy indie voice, and, you know, she chose to go for big instrumentation and all, and I felt like a lot of what makes her special was lost in that album, even though it was beautiful, it was lush sounding and all of that. I like more this sort of thing. It has kind of that haziness to it, that intimacy. It's just more effective for her style. I love Spanish guitar, and so does my dad. That's something that we share. Always have, so, you know, gotta go with a little bit of Spanish guitar. Rachmaninoff Concerto No. 3. My parents are huge Rachmaninoff fans, and this actually was a gift for my mom back in the 70s when they were dating. And there is a letter somewhere in the back from my father, but I am also a big Rachmaninoff fan. I didn't know what this was at first, but I see in rainbows peeking out over here. Yes, that's right. This was given to me by someone that I love very much, a very, very good friend of mine. And yeah, in rainbows, it's one of the best Radiohead albums, for sure. I would put it right behind OK Computer. That's how good it is. I think I got this just because it was like $2 or something. It's a really old Rolling Stones album. I used to be so big into the Rolling Stones, so I wanted to get more into like their really early stuff for whatever reason. Don't know why. More Frank Sinatra, but this is like Tommy Dorsey, which is not my favorite of his. Tchaikovsky. I used to be really big into Swan Lake, though I'm less enamored by Tchaikovsky, I would say, nowadays. But still like it, still have a special place in my heart for his slightly campy style. Tune Yards, I like them. This is definitely their best album. It's not even a question. It's their most fully realized. It's their most just full of energy and joy, and it's creative. Every moment of it is interesting. Water Fountain is one of those songs that I just fucking love. If you like songs that really get you moving and that are interesting, that have some kind of uniqueness, Water Fountain by Tune Yards. Check it out. And Andy Warhol, of course, by Velvet Underground. I don't listen to it that often, but I do when I'm feeling general malaise, I would say. Then I have FKA Twigs here. Huge fan of hers. I've talked about her so much, I think, on this channel. You know, she's just real kind of twitchy, spiritual, earthy, psychedelic, yet somehow demonic. I call her like a stripper from the fifth dimension. She takes you to a whole nother level. You know, her music is very cinematic, especially her EP, Melissa. That's my favorite thing she did. But this first album, LP1, is fantastic. And if you want a singer with a real unique point of view and voice, check this girl out, especially if you're really into like trip hop, Massive Attack type stuff. More Radiohead, King of Limbs. I think this is not one of my favorite albums of Radiohead, but there are certain tracks on here that I absolutely love. I like Bloom, though I'm less interested in it now that I'm older, but I love like Lotus Flower. I think that's my favorite track on the entire album. And I've learned to kind of, little by little, grew on me as an example. And Codex did as well, that I don't think it has quite the emotional punch of like, say, a song like Nude, or a lot of the songs in OK Computer or Kid A, but it's still good stuff. And that is the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. For those of you who are vinyl collectors, I would love to know what some of your favorite records are, some of your favorite collector's items, and just some of your favorite albums, just because I love music. But all my Patreon supporters are here. Thank you guys as always. If you're interested in art and supporting artists, you can check out my website below, deepfocuslens.com. I do commissioned portraits and prints. I am an artist. And if you're interested you're welcome to DM me. I don't bite. I'll answer any questions that you have. And beyond that, all my social media is below. You can watch more videos here, and you can subscribe if you want. Catch you next time.